Alright, it's DCS World 2.5. We re-gone. Nah, fly the JF-17. Thunder, and we have an escort mission at night in multiplayer. Let's do it. Alright, so if you're running the JF-17, make sure that you download the latest BMS patch, because there was a bug for the radar, and they fixed that with the latest patch. So go ahead and get that, and then you can use your radar again. Works really well. They did a great job of fixing that. I'm going to jump into the server here, and you can see the server's pretty full. There's 24 players on a 64-slot server. Now, if you guys want to join this server, the IP address is provided below. This is a no-fly zone, so you can only fly Coalition aircraft. I'm going to crank the heat up. Turn on the APU. I'm gone, nah. Hit the starter switch, and then I'm gone, nah. Move my stick back to take off. We'll do a right turn after we get airborne. So right rudder, take off. We'll get some speed picked up. So I'm going to switch over to my guard to frequency. That's going to be my air-to-R frequency. And then I'm going to set that to the air-to-R mode. There he goes. I launched the missile. I think I got him. I'm not sure. Let's find out. I didn't get him, unfortunately. Oh, I'm getting some return fire from the bandit. He's probably shooting his gun at us. So I'm gone. Nah. Try to shake him off and get behind him again, so that I can get another shot at him. We're just going to come in and land on runway 11 left. What a great little fighter. I love flying this thing. Really fun aircraft to fly. A lot of great features. I encourage anybody who likes jet fighters to try this out and get it for about 40 bucks. It's definitely worth the price of admission. He got me again. I'm going to try to shake him off, see if we can get behind him again. Here we go. But if you're interested in flying in a multiplayer, try to coordinate with some friends to see if you can get into a server together. Because you've re-gone. Nah. Want some wingman that you know, so that you not getting ganked by somebody who's teamed up against you? That's always a concern when you're flying in multiplayer. But if you coordinate with some buddies, and you've got some wingmen, then you should be good. Trying to get the range down. We're too far away though. My missile won't reach him. I'm going to press the TVC button, so that I can use the thrust vector control. I'll push forward on the stick and use the thrust vector control to gain some speed. I'll get a little bit closer to the guy. Try to launch the missile. There goes the missile. That should get him. And then I'm going to turn on data link. And now I'm going to try to get behind him and finish this guy off. Here we go. Launching a missile. I think I got him. Looks like we got him. I don't know if he had any ordnance or anything like that. Didn't look like he did. We'll go ahead and break off and head back to base. So we'll switch over to our data link mode. And now we should see the bandits on the radar scope. The only enemy fighters are going to be below 3,000 feet. As long as you stay above that, you should be safe. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're just heading back to base. We can reduce power, put the gear down. We'll start our descent down to 1,000 feet. So just maintain 300 knots. Keep your altitude, and you should be good. You can see the blip right there on the radar. I'm gone, nah. Go down to the lowest altitude, so that we re-looking for low-altitude bandits. We can track that bandit. I'm going to keep my eye on that. We'll leave the gear down just so that we can see it a little bit better. We're going to level off here at about 1,000 feet. And now we'll start our right-hand turn. Just takes a little bit of time to get all the systems turned on. But for now, if you're flying the JF-17 in multiplayer, just make sure that you are flying the block, too. Turn on the radar. Radar is on. You can see it's got a search mode. We'll set it to simple. So I'm going to tell him to get the radar turned on and to watch for bandits. Alright, let's set our altitude to 35. We'll start to pick up some speed here. I'm going to trim the aircraft so it's not fighting the controls that much. If we go to radar modes, we have an air-to-air mode and an air-to-air ground mode. So we're going to leave it on air-to-air for now. Then we LSA will come over. When we get within range, we'll go ahead and send him a missile. Okay, our guns are on. If you want to fire the gun, just squeeze the trigger. The missile is away. That was an air-to-air missile. There's also an air-to-air surface missile. Just have to set the mode to surface, and then you can launch that missile as well. But you have to be close enough to the ground for that missile to work. Yuku. And launch it up here because it's designed to hug the terrain and follow the terrain contour lines and detonate on the target. So it needs to be used at lower altitudes, and set our altitude to 350. We LL climb on the heading of 090 degrees. Our alt knob, we'll set it to 35. Start to pick up some speed here. I'm going to trim the aircraft so it's not fighting the controls that much. Because otherwise you whoa, and have the radar and you whoa and be able to carry those weapons. Now, I don't know if that will change in the future, but I wanted to point that out just in case. And if you're flying the JF-17, you need to be in the high group. Our runway is 11 left. We're going to be taking off in about 3 minutes. The weather is clear, and we have an escort mission where our wingman is banned at 2101, and we re-gone, head to the southeast. Our altitude is 35,000 feet, so that's what we're going to start at. We have ground and air control frequencies in the description. So if you want to add those to your radio stack, you can do that. But I'm just going to use the map view to get my frequencies, so we'll set that to guard. And then I'm going to use the waypoint feature. I like to set my frequencies that way rather than typing them in because sometimes it's a little bit easier. So we'll just use WP 1, 2, and 3. So that's our ground control. That's our frequency. So just make sure you join the high group when you get into the server. The one thing I want to mention about this aircraft is that there are 2 different versions. The Block 1 and the Block 2. Now, from my understanding, the Block 1 does not have a radar. It doesn't have the ability to carry air-to-surface missiles. It's basically a fighter without any of the attack capabilities. Whereas the Block 2 is the one that I have here, and it has all the bells and whistles, including the radar and the ability to carry air-to-surface weapons. Now, the reason why I'm pointing this out is because in the future, there may be a version where they're S, a Block 1 and a Block 2, and maybe you can choose which one you want to fly. Okay, so let's take a look at the mission details. Now we have bandits in the area, and they're coming this way. We'll roll in a few more options. I'm going to put the other pilot in the back seat here, so you can see everything that I'm seeing. He's going to be controlling the radar. We'll take a look at our radios. So our guard frequency is still on the ground, control frequency. And now we LA just start to close the distance on that bandit and get ready to engage it. So we're restarting to get close to the bandit, and I'm trying to get the range down. I'm getting hit by the bandit again. I'm going to turn on my flares and chaff. Set that too high. As long as you stay above 3,000 feet, you're safe. Do you have any issues? Just say a prayer to St. Elmo, and hopefully he'll save you. Now, I don't know what the multiplayer scene is like for this module. That's all I got for this video. Make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next video.